I'm Professor Golden, if you don't know, and part of the Inclusive Excellence Committee. And we do focus groups. We've done several in the past. The last one we did was when Ms. Body came from Katie's Way. Our discussion today is the family. We had a enlightening discussion in class prior. Okay. And this particular hour, 15 minutes, we want to shed light on some things that we didn't get a chance to cover in the previous hour. And so if you have something to say, raise your hand. Try to cut down on the sidebar conversations because the camera picks up everything. Now, we're going to have a PowerPoint, and we go over the slides on the PowerPoint. Ms. Rachel is the person that's going to be doing flicking PowerPoint. And so I want to ask this question before I put our slides up. What does family mean to you? Now, most of the people I know in this room, so I'm going to call on you, and I want you to give your studied opinion on what family means to you. So, Stewie, can you open up the second hour and let us know, and cut down on the sidebar, folks, if you want to hear everybody's opinion. Okay, Stewie, what does family mean to you in your studied opinion?
Just the people that like you call your family. It's not always people that are in your DNA. Just people that like that have been there for you and that have your back through everything.
And have your back. All right. Okay. So people that don't share your DNA, people that you call that are close to you that you trust. What about you, Kira? What does family mean to you?
Same thing. People you can rely on when you need someone there for you.
Now, we know family can be toxic, which we're going to deal with in this hour. And we also going to deal with the usage of cell phones, too. Something that I like talking about. So, Ms. Rachel, you want to pull that up? And let's continue the conversation that we had, okay? And phrases to live by, and we're left off here. You know, we have to believe in the young people that are in the family. And if you think about when you were coming up, you were supposed to be seen and not heard, but not with this generation. They want to be seen, they want to be heard, and they demand that you listen to them. It's okay. Parents, don't rush your child. Don't rush those 18 years because those 18 years are going to come back quick. And don't rush your child's life. Okay? So, it's important. Rachel, next. All right, now, with family, we talk about family shaped by the culture. And I was, one of the ladies that's on the committee with me, I sent her the topics that I was going to discuss in the intro, and she asked me, what do you mean by birth order? What is that? But before I tell you, I want someone, Ms. Lawrence, I want you to tell the class in your study opinion. I'm looking at y'all, Ms. Lawrence is right here. I want you to tell the class what birth order means to you when it comes to family.
I would say that birth order, when what it means to me is that I have an older brother, I have an older sister, I have two older sisters, and I have two younger, a little more than that, but I'm in the middle. But as far as birth order is concerned, I feel like I'm the older because I'm always entrusted with stuff that they don't want to deal with or know how to deal with. So I think birth order can be any which way it turns. I mean, I respect my older sister, but she's not as smart as I am.
Can sometimes birth order mean also that you are not supposed to give your opinion because you ain't been on earth long enough? Even though you weren't the smartest? You got all this formal education, you got all the
No.
But sometimes people will let you know your place.
Yeah, but I also let them know their place at the same time.
So you going against the family, the politics of the family.
Not
People,
really.
you're supposed to be, if you were born fifth, you think first is you gonna be able to tell first what to do?
Yeah.
Okay, that's you.
I'm
But-
looking
but-
at my family, yeah.
The family apparatus,
Well, you're not supposed to.
yeah, you're supposed to be seen, not heard. You're only supposed to speak when it's spoken to.
But
Even if you, hold on, Ms. Lawrence, even if you are 100% correct, you're still wrong.
no, because we'll argue to the death.
You go argue. And I'm pretty sure that everybody in this room agrees with you. So if we talk about the culture, that's how we look at family. Not all the time, everybody don't look at family that way. And this whole thing about you need to stay in your lane. You need to stay in your lane. If it's not my child, I can't say nothing. This is hard. If you know your sibling is treating your niece or your nephew improperly, do you say anything?
Yes.
Okay. Now, if you do say something, do you know its consequences?
Yeah.
Yes.
Go ask me too.
Now, keep it rolling. Okay. So answer this question on the board. We talk about sibling rivalry. Who creates sibling rivalry? Parents.
Yeah.
What if I told you that sometimes your parents are not as mature as they're supposed to be?
That's true. That can be very true.
Okay. Why does sibling rivalry exist, E? Not you, this E.
I don't know, jealousy, comparison.
We're gonna get to that. Jealousy and comparison. Okay. Ms. Rodriguez, why does sibling rivalry exist in your study opinion? Or take number 2. Is it a threat to the family structure when there's sibling rivalry?
I wouldn't say a threat to the structure, but then it makes the structure kind of like their sibling rivalry, like for school or sports, then the structure for intelligence goes from sibling B to A to C, or if one is better at sports or whatever. I wouldn't say that it's a threat, but it helps make the structure of the family, I guess, in a certain way. Because, I mean, it's not all completely the parents. I mean, I put part of the blame on the parents, but then people, on their own can get, you know what I mean, create a rivalry or try to be better than the next. You know what I mean? Sometimes kids can just be like that.
Especially if you have 2 competitive children. Especially if you have a brother and a sister that are competitive as hell. That you want to beat your sister regardless. You just want to beat them in everything.
Or if there's 2 sons one's trying to be the
Yeah.
alpha male,
Yeah.
you know? It's not
Yeah.
all the parents. I mean, they play a part in it, but sometimes the kids are the ones that started as well, depending on their personalities.
JJ?
You can do environment too. Like when I was in middle school, my sister was, I think, 2 or 3 grades ahead of me, and every time I move up to the next class, I'd always end up getting my sister's old teacher, and they would always be like, "Why aren't you like your sister?" or stuff like that. And same with sports. My sister has been a track star since she was in 4th grade, and so I got into track, and everybody expects me to either be better than her or up to par with her. So it comes with environment, school, all that stuff too.
Especially since he's a male, men are physically, you know what I mean, dominant to women,
My
so
sister's damn faster than me. I'm not gonna lie. She
they
ran
expect him to be better because he's
she
a
ran
male.
a 11.4 in 12th grade.
So it's not always the parents. It could be the educators
Mhm.
that are letting you know about when you fall behind. That's this whole thing about that ranking thing. And people will pull rank on you, which could cause a problem. You're not supposed to be competitive with your family. I'm just telling you. You're not supposed to be. It's everything when they're family events, everything is supposed to be fun. I forgot to tell you. Okay, because I was not, let's keep it moving. How can we abolish this sibling rivalry? Can it be abolished?
No.
You don't think so, Ms. Lawrence?
I don't think so. It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen whether you try and abolish it or not. It's ingrained.
Okay, it's
already
gonna
there.
happen.
Yeah, it's going to happen.
Go ahead, Ms. Rodriguez.
When it's a multitude of things, you can't control the educators or the personality of your kids or the personality of the parents or the personality of the coaches. You know what I mean? Like you, as a parent, might not be contributing to it, but somebody else will.
Okay,
You
But-
can't control other people.
okay.
Why are you smiling about?
Because she just raised her hand. I was trying to wait to call on Maria, but she did it for me. Go ahead.
I think it kind of goes away as like kids age, because I mean, me and my siblings are all in our 20s now, and we don't really compete as much. But when we were in like high school and middle school, and like, and since I'm the youngest, as I would go up through like all of my schooling, every teacher I had always at least had one of my siblings. So like it was a lot of that competition. But now that we're all in like college and stuff like that, and, like we're living our own lives, there's not as much competition because like we're on our own paths now rather than like being forced to like be better than one another because we're going to succeed differently in like the fields we've chosen.
Since you talking, why don't you tell me, Ms. Johnson, what the jealous gene is? What's the jealous gene?
I think it's different with every family. Like my, like, so like, kind of like what she was going off, like how they all went their own paths. In my family, it's different. Like
Well, what's the jealous gene?
my mom's jealous that she had 2 girls and only 1 boy instead of having all boys. Like that's what she wanted, and so she basically just kind of disowned my sister and I and like let it be known. And so we're a little bit jealous of my brother, I guess, because he's not a knight in shining armor. He doesn't do anything good, but somehow he's still, he's the winner in this household because he's got,
And you jealous of your brother?
I'm not jealous of him, he can, you know I'm above that, you know I'm above that.
Stuart?
I feel like in my family, like going off of hers, I feel like since I'm the only girl and I'm the oldest, I feel like all the boys are always jealous, like, oh, she's spending more time with mom, or oh, mom's always gonna take her side over ours. I mean, it's true. I mean, it is true though, but but they admit it. Like they'll say all the time, like whatever, you go just go spend time with your mom. She'll want us anyways. I'm like, oh, all right. Well,
It's sometimes it's very subtle. You gonna take their word over mine anyway. So, and sometimes that goes back to what we say. Sometimes you got to stay in your lane. You have to recognize because see, even when we talk about the family unit, jealousy can take you out of here. And you know when you're dealing with somebody who got the jealous gene. And it's in every family. I don't care what family you are, it's in your family, right?
Do you mean jealous, like envious, or jealous as in?
Either way.
You know. You can tell, Rand, you can tell when you're dealing with somebody that got that gene. So what do you do when you're dealing with somebody, Ms. Lawrence, with the jealous gene? Hold on, Ms. Lawrence. I'm gonna spice this up.
Oh, no.
What if you got a jealous parent? See, you never thought about that. Because sometimes, ladies first, you don't deal with this. Ms. Lawrence, jealous gene. You got a jealous parent. How do you deal with it?
I would think if my parent was jealous of me in any way, and I figured it out, I would try to talk to them to find out what is it that makes them so protective of me over the rest of my siblings.
What if you have a jealous spouse?
Well, that's a whole different ballgame.
Because you got some, you have
That's
some
a
people,
whole different
that's a
ballgame.
different ballgame. You have some people that are married. Now, JJ, I know you're not married unless you didn't tell me you got married. But you had your hand up.
Well, I was,
No, I want you to address what I just said. And since you're not married, JJ, but you could be dating somebody, what if you had a jealous person that you were dating?
I feel it kind of just, for me, it just depends on like what they're jealous of, but like
Everything.
there's
Everything.
it's hard to continue, especially if they're jealous of like for example, say my girlfriend was jealous of my family situation, like how close I am with my mom or something like that. Or actually, when my ex, she was jealous because she'd be mad because my best friend from 3rd grade was a female, and I enjoyed hanging out with her since 3rd grade, and she would always get mad at me because I was hanging out with another female, and like it was hard to continue because she was like, okay, well I don't want you to see her again, and I'm like, well, I'm a senior, I met you last year, I mean, I've known her since 3rd grade, I kind of have to weigh my options here, like a high school relationship that may not move that far, go that far, or a friendship since 3rd grade that could last forever, you know, like that's the type of like situations and things you have to weigh.
Yeah.
And it can be negative and it also can be positive, but
JJ, most of the time it's negative.
yeah, oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and we're dealing with that right now. That's why I'm not calling on Stewie, I'm gonna call on E. Well, hold on, Ms. Rodriguez, go ahead, E.
Well, in a relationship, if someone's jealous of the things you have, it's probably like their own insecurities. And you shouldn't be in a relationship with someone who can't be confident in themselves. They need to be confident before they can.
E, what if you can't talk to that person, but they still wanna be with you?
What do you mean?
They still wanna be with you, and you've tried to tell them that you have friends, you have family, but they want you all to.
You have to break up with them.
What if you can't break up with them?
You can always break up with them.
Sure?
Yes.
Positive?
Yeah.
We gonna hold on. Ms. Rodriguez?
I feel like I agree with the past two, like
You agree with that?
That's the first, what?
yeah, no, like
We got this on tape.
like listen to me though. Listen to me.
Okay.
Listen to me.
Okay, I'm listening.
If someone was jealous of my success and my friendships and my family and everything, I wouldn't be with them because the person you're with is supposed to want the best for you and encourage you to be the best.
True.
So why would I be someone who low-key wants to hold me back? I wouldn't.
Sometimes, Ms. Rodriguez, people don't know, they can't see it because they're in the relationship. So sometimes it's kind of difficult.
Oh, my mom pointed out right away.
Okay.
She'd be like, that person's not good for you. And I probably wouldn't listen to her right away, but eventually I'd start looking and seeing things, and my friend was like,
Hold on.
right?
Okay.
I said that last time.
Now, I don't know why I'm doing this because I love her. I'm going to call on her anyway, but I know she got something to say. Go ahead, Stewie.
I'm gonna just tell you. I have
Say
this
it down.
situation is in my family right now. So my mother's son, I just own him.
That's her mother's son.
So my mother's
That's
son
how you refer to him.
got mad at his daughter's mom because she hung out with his other brother and said that he was cheating on her with his older brother that is 17 and she's older. So they're not allowed to hang out, and then they're not together no more because he got jealous of me and her hanging out all the time. And now he tries to tell me that I'm not allowed to see my niece, but said niece lives with me, so he kissed my ass. But so it goes on a daily basis. And every time we go to my mama's house together, he like goes in the bedroom and shuts the door, and he's just like,
So
"Can you tell me when you leave?"
So he's a child.
Yeah, I mean, he is a child, he's deadbeat.
Yeah. I'm glad that she didn't talk about something that happened yesterday. Go ahead.
So,
Mr. JJ.
I want to bring up like back to the marriage. When my parents got divorced, my dad.
Continue.
When my parents got divorced, like my dad only gave my mom a hard time because she had me and my sister and I, and so like we figured out like going from why they got divorced. We figured like my dad only gave my mom a hard time because we were with my mom, and so like he custody battles. He only went through that because he didn't want my mom to have us. He truly, deep down, didn't really want us in the first place. He just didn't want my mom not to have
He's being
us.
spiteful.
So exactly.
He's
So
being spiteful.
and like he was jealous because like my dad moved across the country. Now he's in Massachusetts.
Where's your
And
mom?
she's here in Arizona. They were together down here. He moved up there and my sister was I think 15 or 16 and I was 12 or 13. And we're middle of school. Like it was literally like November, December. So middle of the school year. We didn't want to change the scenery. We moved to Arizona in 2006. From 2006 to about 2012, we moved houses at least 3 times every single year. And so we finally got to the same school. We were able to stay in the same school, have the same friends for longer than 6 months, and we didn't want to move across the country. And he got mad at that.
Of course.
And so when we told him that, well, we want to stay with mom, he got mad at that. So he fought her in court for 2-3 years, made her life a living hell for 2-3 years, just because we decided to stay with her. And that's when you say like jealousy is within marriages.
Yep.
I mean, after marriages, it's still there. And
That's
like currently, he bribed my sister a trip to Paris for her to move up with him. He's bribed me with cars and all this other stuff to move up with him, and we still tell him like, listen, like we want to stay down here. Everything we've known is in Arizona. He still gives my mom a living hell because of it. And
It's JJ, what it is and what parents do is it's called the guilt trip.
yeah.
Make you feel guilty because you want to stay.
Mhm.
And parents are good. They got PhDs in this. Okay? They know how to manipulate their child.
Yeah.
Which,
And at that age, I mean, like we would take anything.
okay, hold your thought, because we don't deal with that thing you mentioned. Rachel, you want to? No sidebars. None.
Sorry.
We'll still be on this topic.
No.
You want to address this?
I'm gonna
You sure?
try. I'm gonna try.
How has the current political climate impacted the family structure, the structure of the family? Wait a minute, I'm gonna get to you. Oh, let me go to 90 first. Yes, ma'am.
My dad, he asked us, but once Trump got into office, he was super nice to my sister because he wanted his presidency. And he ended up getting his like card, and he's so nice. He's so nice.
Ms. Lawrence.
I was just gonna say how it has impacted my family personally, and I think I've told you guys this story before. I got a phone call from my older sister who told me that I was to vote for Trump because God told her to call her family because we should all vote for Trump.
Okay. Hold on. Mr. Brock, why don't you answer that question on the board?
Well,
I said I was coming to you.
it hasn't really affected my family.
Hasn't at all. So everybody's still speaking to each other.
Yeah,
Everybody tells each other they love them.
yeah.
Okay.
And they have like differences, like most of my family's Republican and then there's some like Democrat and they go.
Okay, so they're civil.
Yeah,
There's no ugliness.
no.
Go ahead, Ray.
It made my family closer, actually.
Oh, you made your family closer. Okay. Did anybody come closer because of the political, or was there a division?
Well,
Ladies first. Stewie, you have a new resident here in Arizona, don't you?
Yep.
Okay. And you don't mince words about how you feel about the current occupant, do you?
Sure don't.
And she loves the current occupant, doesn't she?
Unfortunately.
But
I'm
you
not allowed to
still.
talk about it because
Okay.
the day she moved down here, she has a hat.
Now, hold on, folks. You have to decide, was this intent
No,
or an
it was an
accident?
accident.
You shared.
The car.
No. She did it on purpose. My contention, she did it on purpose. You decide.
Okay, she has this hat that clearly says "Make America Great Again." It was in a box. We were unpacking the living room. It fell on the floor. She picked it up. She was like, "Oh, my favorite hat!" Like tucking it out, made it all right. I knocked out of her hand. I stepped on it, and I was like, "Oh shit, Granny, I'm sorry." And I had to walk away. she didn't talk to me. I mean, she's still not really talking to me right now about it, but we're not allowed to talk about it no more. And anytime he comes on the TV, I have to walk out of the living room, or she tells me that we have to turn the TV off until he gets off.
But she calls me.
And I call him pissed off because I had to leave the living room because she won't listen to his ass talk on TV. But it was an accident, I promise.
No.
It just fell next to me. I was like, oh, let me just pick that up.
JJ?
I mean, from where I'm from, he's not, I mean, our 45th is not liked. So.
Has it brought your family closer?
Yes, I see it as we have a common enemy. And with a common enemy.
You don't live in your house? Does he determine if you're married?
No.
Okay, so why is it an enemy?
Because we don't like him. We don't like his views. We don't like, and it brings, and I think if you look at it in a bigger picture, when there's a common enemy, it brings people closer. I mean, think about World War II.
Yep.
When there's a common enemy?
Wait a minute. Hold on, wait. Let me put this in perspective. Hold on. Did I hear this right? We got this on tape. You said World War II and the current occupant.
I'm saying it and just looking at a big. It has nothing to. World War II has nothing to do with the current.
But you just compared.
I'm going on. Wait, listen.
I'm trying to figure this one out.
It brought the country together. We all worked together. We all worked together. We all worked more, and it brought the country closer. World War II, because there was a common enemy. None of us, excuse me. None of us like Hitler, Germany. We didn't like that. All that.
Why do you want to go there? Because I want to argue.
Japan, I mean, not yeah, my bad. With that, it brought the country closer. It's the same. It's not the same situation, but with my family, when he became the president, we had a common enemy. We all came together closer because we decided, okay, we need to work together. It brought races closer. It brought, separate races got closer because obviously he doesn't like Hispanic people, obviously.
Okay.
Or any other people who aren't white, so.
Go ahead.
Thing, like when you
Hold on, guys. Go ahead, Rand.
When you find yourself on the same side, you tend to put your differences aside to become closer to that,
Exactly.
those people, that person. So, as he said, like, you have the LGBT community, you have Hispanic people, you have black people, you have Muslims, like, we're all on the same side, which is against Trump because he hates us. Okay, so we find ourselves connecting and getting closer to each other and fighting for each other because we realize it's like we're all dealing with the same thing. And so we're on the same side.
Phoenix.
Yeah, I was just going to agree with him and say he does have a historical point comparing Trump and World War II. I mean, the things that Hitler did, where Trump is literally on the same path. I mean, like, we have camps, like we have division between, we have there, the reason Hitler was so popular is people are very patriotic. And people are just as patriotic right now for the country, and they're on Trump's side in the same way as they were on Hitler's side. People like to talk about Hitler killing the Jews. It wasn't Hitler, like, it was all the people around who were walking them into the gas chamber. Just as we have shooting after shooting after shooting every week of people who align themselves with Trump, killing people who don't. And so therefore impacting people's families because everyone has like someone impacted in some way. Like I get, because I work on multiple campuses, I've gotten alerts about danger on campus. And so therefore it impacts my family by me simply being on campus.
Okay.
Yeah.
Ms. Rodriguez?
I agree with her, because, just hear me out here. There have been interviews of Jewish Holocaust survivors saying that he is on the same path because, one, he is blaming immigrants for the crash of the economy, just like Hitler blamed the Jews. Second of all, he is putting immigrants in camps just like he put the Jews in ghettos. And Germany's slogan was "Make Germany Great," and now it's "Make America Great Again." He is in like the second or third phrase that Hitler was taking, or that Hitler took. Illuminati. Or racism. Sorry, you just said racism. That works too. But do you see, he has a point. Like, even Jewish Holocaust survivors are saying that he is on the same path.
I just want to argue this.
That's exactly.
You know what? You're the reason my heart rate increases.
You'd never be on my side.
Thank you. It's not my fault, but
I know, right?
I'm supposed to do keep this stuff first.
No, still more.
Okay. So,
Stop this page on that.
okay. So as we can see, this is, it's impacted family.
Most of the time you say it.
Go ahead, Ray.
I feel like the impact was it brought a lot of families together, but there's also the families that have been torn apart. For example,
Yeah.
like I've had to call you in regards to it. Like my mom, being military, retired military, has never voted a day in her life, and all of a sudden she voted and she's proud. And like, you know what, I said, you do your thing, but it counteracted because she also started, she went to her first gay wedding. She did all this stuff that she thought was beautiful, and then she did that, and she's lost friends now because of it. And then also with like my brother, like the fact that what happened with Trump going to office has caused some anxiety for people, and then like also the downplay of it, like the way my brother was like, you're acting like an idiot because of it. And I'm like, well, it's not your rights that are being jeopardized entirely. Like you're a young white male that's a supremacist and all that. So it has also torn families apart besides bringing it together. Like,
And in fact, we think about this started before November 8th.
mm-hmm.
But, you know, what we have to understand is, if we think about today is the 13th of November, if we go back to November 7th, which is an infamous day in history.
Are we talking about 2016?
2016. November 8th, 2016, that morning. And
there was
how
some
people
jokes
so
about
upset.
like the post anxiety of what happened that night.
Yeah.
Like it was.
Yeah, and it was a lot. But you know, what you do is, because it's the family, can families recover from this? And a lot of people are writing books about this now. Can they? The question is, we'll see.
Well, didn't you have the same thing with your family being like, you need to vote for Trump? Sorry, I didn't mean to put you on blast.
No,
too, like,
no, it's actually just my older sister.
Oh, that was it. Okay.
Yeah, you know, I mean, you could say she's always thought that she was the patriarch of the family, but she's, you know, just a figure of speech, really. She has her ways, but that one took the rest of us by surprise. Not, I mean, in the sense that we already knew she was a Republican, but we didn't know how stupid she really was. Okay? I mean, we dealt with that. I mean, and it doesn't matter. I mean, when I voted, I voted. It doesn't matter if I voted Democrat, whatever. I voted for the person that I thought was the right person to be in that position for me. So I'm not gonna call you and tell you you need to vote for the same person I'm voting for.
But see, you know that's what happens in families. I mean,
Yeah.
there's a huge debate about, okay, you voted for this person versus you voted for this person.
But I have my own mind.
Right.
I have my own
That's true.
thoughts.
That's true, but in families have been divided because people voted for this person versus this person. And it's happened in the past, but not to the extent. That's why we have to have these conversations, okay? Keep it moving. Keep it moving, okay? Because we got to deal with this here. The politics of families, events, weddings. And if you don't think those things are political, they are. And if you know somebody who had a wedding, you're supposed to select certain people as for the ladies' maid of honor, and you have sisters, that's a problem. Who's gonna be your maid of honor? Now, if you got two sisters, my wife had two sisters, so she had two maids of honor. Okay, cut down all the dramas. The baby showers, who's gonna host the baby shower? That's important. When people make the transition, funerals are political? Yes, they are. Who speaks? Who is going to do the service? What funeral home? Who's going to speak during the funeral? That's very political. Extremely. You have no idea. Because you, especially if you are in the family, within the family unit of a certain age, some people feel you're not supposed to speak. Who rides in a limo? Ms. Rodriguez, trust me. I said the same thing. But
It happens.
It happens.
I haven't.
So what?
I said, they live their life, I haven't.
That's how political things are. Because I was young, I wasn't supposed to ride in the limo because I was scheduled to ride in the limo and somebody switched it. I never questioned it. No, I'm going to tell you why. Because you have to know your place. And they would have been butthurt if I would have been there because I'm the youngest.
Then let them be butthurt. Your name was on the list, now.
That's true.
Let them
But
be
they were
butthurt.
already butthurt because who was running the service.
Well,
They were
then-
already butthurt because I was speaking.
Then, you know what, obviously you're more adult than they are if you're not getting upset and they are, so tell them to fight you.
Is that the way to solve it?
Yes,
It sure is.
I didn't do that, but she believes that.
No, I just say fight me as a joke, so it's like, okay, calm down.
No,
Metaphorically speaking.
I
Thank you.
I wanted to, I really wanted to do all that, but I'm like, you know what?
I don't, no.
Yeah, I mean, we talking about eulogizing somebody, and y'all got issues.
They have
Yeah,
issues.
yeah, so it's like, but you learn stuff all the time. That's why it's up there, like, weddings, this is supposed to be a joyful occasion. Why do we have to have disagreements?
That means people care though, at least.
They care, but see, do they care?
About themselves.
Right. Because see, they want to hold
The highest
holiday
honor.
dinner at their house. Why we gotta go over her house all the time? That's about that jealousy thing.
That happens so much in black families.
Oh, it does. It really does.
It is
Cause
just
then there's
a
just like,
joke.
It's sniping. I
cause
mean,
then there's like,
it's a joke.
well, she can't cook, but like, all black people can cook. But
that's
like-
when the ugliness starts coming out. Yeah.
But it just comes with like who cooks the best at the end of the day, and
And you're speaking of that, we're talking about holiday dinners. Who's making this versus who's making
I'm
this?
not gonna eat this because they made that.
yeah.
I'm in charge of ordering pies.
All it-
all that salt and that
How did she just use her mac and cheese? That ain't enough.
Okay. Marriage. Yeah. We start thinking about marriage. Why is marriage important to family culture? Why? Why is marriage important? You married, AJ. Why is it important to you?
That's a great question. I have no
That
idea.
VAH.
Yeah, it was great for money's sake.
What is BAH?
That's a
Base housing allowance in the military, you get paid
I
more.
wanted you to tell them.
If you have dependents, you get paid more.
Yeah. That's a it was a financial decision.
Okay.
I feel like
Now-
7% of the military is for the Marines.
Do people get married? Do people get married? Well, you just answered the people who get married in finance.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But what,
Scam with tax benefits.
but what about love?
Baby, don't hurt.
It's more of a status sign.
It's not love anymore?
No, it's a status sign.
Yes, Ms. Rodriguez.
I feel like if you truly love somebody, I mean, you don't have to get married to prove that. I feel like you can get married to prove that, but you don't have to. You know what I mean? Because if you're gonna be together forever, you don't need a piece of paper to tell you that.
Exactly.
You don't need the government to approve it for you.
Okay. Yes, ma'am.
Because I am Hispanic and I am Mexican, it's extremely important for the family. It's not even about, it is about you and about the love that you share, but because the family dynamic is so close together, it's like they're not actually part of the family until you get married. And if you don't get married, you're considered, like, you're disowned because you didn't do things right, you didn't do it in a certain order. And it's, but honestly, I believe personally marriage is mostly for the families because it is so that they can say, yes, my daughter walked down the aisle in white, and yes, now she's with this person. It's definitely so that way your family accepts this person that you're with.
Okay, does it have to be a wedding?
No.
It's like eloping eloping's a new first.
Hold on, wait a minute. I'm asking, does it have to be a wedding?
In my culture, it is.
Okay. Hold on, Ms. Johnson. Yes, sir. What's your name?
Nick Giles.
Mr. Giles, go ahead.
I don't know if we're allowed to bring religion or anything into this.
Oh, of course.
Oh, you can.
Okay, well, I'm sorry. So,
It's a free for all.
that's what I've noticed. So, in my religion, it's,
What's your religion?
Yeah.
I'm a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints.
If
I'm
I
a
had to
Mormon.
choose a religion, I would choose
Okay.
I'm a
that.
Mormon.
Continue.
I married my wife last November because I'm in love with her. It's a thing of love,
Okay.
and it is central to our religion. We're supposed to not have or perform sexual relations before we're married, all of those things. And we don't. It's a commandment that we're not supposed to do that. And
Okay.
but like she said,
It's
family
important.
is the most important part of why we are here on earth.
Okay.
And it's when we're supposed to have children and raise a family and teach them the truth. In a religious perspective, I don't know what you guys are. Like, that's
Okay.
up to you.
They're gonna let you know. Trust me.
Yeah, I'm sure you will.
Yeah, they will let you know.
Yeah, and
Okay.
that's fine.
Hold on, Kat. Ms. Johnston?
Oh, I don't even remember what I was gonna say. It was the eloping thing. Eloping is the cool, like, it's the way to go, I feel like. For people that aren't, what?
It's cheaper.
It's cheaper, it's not so
Motherfucker, you
like,
get Big Macs, I don't care what.
That's not Chick-fil-A catered, come on.
Is that just when you judge?
Hold on. Okay, Kat?
So for my family, I was always told you don't marry one person, you marry their family.
Yeah.
Oh. Because we're Catholic, so you're not just marrying them, you're marrying their family, you're marrying your soul to their family. And so it's more of a binding of two family souls. And then when you have kids, they're both parts of that family.
Okay. Okay. Rachel?
And you cannot elope, because that is like getting shot in the head.
Okay. Rachel?
And mine,
Hold on, guys. Okay. Rachel, go ahead.
Because when I think about marriage, like especially now and then, especially because I have a girlfriend, I don't want to personally have a wedding because I don't want a bunch of people that are there that don't really back up what I'm doing or that I'm with this person. So basically, if I did get married, it would be eloping, or I wouldn't want, because I know like there's some people in my family, like my grandparents and some other people like that are distant in my family that I would want at my wedding, but I don't want to have that wedding because I don't feel like it would be enjoyable because I have these people there in the back of their heads that aren't for a same-sex marriage.
Marriage is not for everybody. Okay, we just have to be honest. And sometimes, you never know. I hear people all the time say they never get married. In GMs. I was one of them. Yeah, I was one of them. And I was hard with it too. Nah,
I
man.
feel like it depends on the person you meet.
That's true. It depends on the person. It depends on a lot of things.
Like some people say that they don't want to have kids, but then they meet that person that's right for them, and that makes them want to have kids. Like, damn, I want to populate the earth with us.
I'm not okay with everything running around, so.
That's a smooth pickup line, by the way.
Do you want to add to that?
Having another bee running around, you think you're okay with that?
Hold on, guys.
It's like G7, what?
Stewie?
See, I feel like I know somebody that got married just for certain reasons, not to actually like be married or because he loves said person. I feel like
Only times will tell. Right? Right?
sure.
Okay. We're gonna keep it moving.
No.
How do couples, okay, answer this question, folks. How do couples keep family members? Mr. Giles, how do you keep family members out of your business?
Well, I think my parents and my brothers, and then my wife's family, they know that the decisions that me and my wife need to make are our own.
Okay.
And if we need them, or we need their advice, we can go to them and ask. And they know that, and they'll help us if we needed their help.
You got a good situation.
I do a very good situation.
Because everybody doesn't have that.
Right.
And a lot of times, you have family members that want to get in your business.
You've probably seen this movie, with DS Family Reunion.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's an obscure, but yeah, it's a good one to bring up because like, I can't remember if it was the mom, I think it was the mom, that she wanted everything to go her way and she wanted the guy to be the envision like of her eyes was like, you need this guy to be with you, yeah. And that's not who she wanted, that's not what she wanted to build a family off of it, and yeah, that's a good point.
Two things. In my family, you cannot keep each other out of anything. My parents had both sets of their parents go on their honeymoon with them. And
hell no. And
that got really interesting. But also,
That's a family reunion.
Keep going, Kat.
My dad's parents said if my brother ever married a boy, they would disown us because he's the only male child with the name anymore that he can pass on. And so he has to have a son, and he has to get married before he's like 30, and it's just stupid.
Like, what if he never has a son? Like, how?
Then he gets disowned, and so do I.
But it's not his fault. He can't choose.
But see,
Actually, it's his fault.
Yeah, it's his fault in their eyes.
That's why the family is the most political institution. It's an institution, and we need to look at it that way. Go ahead, E.
I'm not a boy today.
I have a question for him.
Who was him?
Hold on,
The
wait a
beard?
minute.
Who was him?
Hold on, Mr. John.
No, with the beard.
Oh, AJ. Folks, okay.
So you have a wife?
Yeah.
Do you love her?
Yeah. I mean, we've been with each other for like 6, 7 years. Yeah.
Did you marry her because you loved her, or did you marry her really just for
We
the money?
were friends before we were dating, and then we moved in with each other. We were living in Hawaii at the time, and I was in the Marines. And honestly, at that time in my life, I didn't think I was going to live past 25, so I was just kind of living in the moment. Made some rash choices really fast, and roommates became more than that, and our relationship was like weird, and it just kind of evolved into she was my wife, and I had to call her my wife, and we were married, so yeah, I mean, eventually emotions just kind of grew from that.
Example you can use.
Yeah, you really don't want to use me as a standard for anything. But, yeah, I mean,
Except for how to treat a woman, because that.
I mean, I don't know
that
how
whole
that could
conversation.
but yeah, so we were like friends, roommates relationship, but that whole time we were married.
Okay. And then my second question is for,
Yeah.
Mr. Giles?
Yeah,
Anything.
Giles.
Oh, hold on, Mr. Giles.
What?
You're not anybody like incriminating me or something.
No, I just wanted to know.
She wanted to be here for this part. You had a question for Mr. Giles?
Yeah, so you said that you're LDS,
Yeah,
and I'm assuming you got married young.
yeah, well, 24.
Okay, did people offer their opinion on that?
20.
Did they say that I got married too young?
Like, yeah, even to this day, do people tell you like about when you got married, if it was too young, or how you should be
No,
moving forward?
not really. So I met my wife last February, and we were engaged in July, got married in November. So we didn't even know each other a full year before we got married.
And did people offer their opinion on that, or no?
In my religion, it's when people know, because you're really getting an answer from God and everything. But they know that you're taking this seriously, because in our religion, it's not just for time. You're not just married to that person while you're on this earth. You're married to them, you're sealed to them for the rest of forever. And so a lot of people that are in our religion don't really voice their opinion. They're like, oh, they know what they're doing. But outside the religion, like, oh, you guys are babies, you're so young. But even then, it's not that often, because a lot of people get married young, even down in this religion.
Okay. Go ahead, Phoenix.
So I think you have to understand too that within the like LDS faith, it is very much so connected to their family, like from generation to generation. So things don't necessarily have to be voiced. Like it's a cultural norm for people of LDS faith to marry pre-25. Like after 25, you're actually really old.
Yeah, I married really old.
Yeah, you're like, they have even particular churches for the single people to make sure they get married on a particular timeline. And so it's important not to judge other people and the cultures by our own cultural norm, to think about family sex in relation to the religion, just in the same sense of her being Hispanic, and then there's also a lot of Catholic norms that go into that religion. And so the wedding isn't about, in Western perspective, they love to say, oh, it's all about the bride. It has nothing to do with that. The wedding is about the family members actually meeting each other, because most of them have never met before. And so then they get to intermingle. So it's really not about the individuals, it's about families coming together.
Okay, folks, for you guys that got your hands up, I still got some more slides that we got to get to. No, trust me. Next one. Because this. Now, wait, put your hand down.
Sorry.
No. I'm coming to you because you had your hand up for the last one.
I do.
What causes divorce?
I think that kind of correlates with involving your family, your extended family in your marriage. I've seen in my experience that quite a few marriages end because of gossip. So, and that could be outside of the marriage or within the marriage when someone is irritated with their spouse. They go and they don't confront the person, which is really so sad. And they go and they talk to everyone else about it, and which just kind of creates this hatred, anger, and it just makes those feelings grow, and you're not keeping it between you two. It's just growing outside of you, I would say.
Kira, you had your hand up for the last time, but I want you to deal with this here. Divorce. How does divorce impact young people?
It's hard to answer. I think young people now, I think, are a little bit less affected than, say, 20 years ago, like, because it's become less of a, like, taboo thing, like,
It's more common.
yeah, it's a lot more common now, so it doesn't impact people as much now.
Go ahead, JJ.
I just want to hold on. Divorce rate now is at a sky high. It's sky high. When my parents got divorced, it was 42%.
How is it now?
It's 68% of marriages end in divorce, which is nearly 70% of the time people get married, it ends in divorce. The way my parents divorced, my dad was, when he was in the military, he'd say he'd go on business trips. He probably was on business trips, but I mean, he was doing other business with other people. That I feel distance is not the best for relationships.
Right.
I mean, being in the military, I'm not in the military, so I wouldn't be able to like tell you this 100%, but I feel like in the military you meet new people, and if in a marriage, I feel like you should never be open to creating another relationship when you're in one currently. I feel if you feel that you need to create another relationship, then you probably shouldn't be in that one you're in now.
Okay. All right. Next one. Okay, Maria. Okay, Maria. We're waiting on this one. Family secrets. What do we do?
I think it depends on what the secret's about, because if you asked me, like, oh, does anyone in your family, like, use illicit drugs? I'd be like, yes. But then if you asked me, like, oh, has anyone murdered someone? I would say, I don't know. Because my family does this weird thing where they don't let everyone in on the secret. It's like a seniority kind of thing. And since I just moved in with my dad's family, I'm like slowly getting to know the gist of all the secrets. But it's still kind of the thing of like, since I'm the youngest, they also think like, oh, we have to protect her from this kind of thing. So when I finally get a secret, everyone already knows about it.
Yeah.
So it's just kind of like I get to go to my siblings and be like, so how long ago did you know about this and you didn't tell me?
Because you're the baby.
Yeah, so it's like, because I'm the baby, I'm like exposed to it last, so then it's like, oh, now I can just talk about it.
Okay, Rayanne?
I feel like it depends on the type of secret. If it affects other people, then it shouldn't be a secret, but if it's something that is personal for someone, it should be up to their discretion whether to share or not.
Yes, ma'am.
I really think it depends on what it is. Like if one of the family members is cheating on another one, like I would be the first one to like say anything, and maybe I'm like traitor to my family.
Yeah, you
for
are.
that. But that's just me. Like I think certain things are wrong and certain things need to be voiced. But like when my cousins didn't know that like his father wasn't his father, like that was just someone that, well, that was who my aunt got with after when she was pregnant, so he didn't know that wasn't like his father, and so when he did find out, it was someone told him. So it was like, I think those types of things need to be kept.
The person that told him, were they related?
Yes.
Okay, because sometimes a child doesn't find out until they're an adult. Okay, they might find out, hold on, they might find out when they're 30. And they might find out, not from a family member, but from a family member. Now, I'm gonna say this, and I said this earlier. What if I told you that family members feel that it's none of your business? You ain't supposed to know. You ain't, I mean, this is the person that raised you, Joel, then you deal with it. You ain't supposed to know that other guy across the street is your daddy. That happens every single day. Happens on a regular basis.
What's that Medea movie with Bow Wow in it?
It's
that's the prime example. Yeah.
Big Happy Family? No.
Yes, Big
Yeah.
Happy Family.
Oh, that was
I can tell you guys from experience. My mother, single mother, because her husband was in service. Evidently, my mother got pregnant while her husband was gone. Guess who was born?
You.
I was raised by my aunt and uncle.
What age did you find out?
I didn't find out until I was 32 years old.
Okay, that's exactly, and folks, hold on. Folks, this happens on a regular basis. And Maria, you being the youngest, if you did know, you're not supposed to say anything.
Right.
You're supposed to keep that, in fact, you ain't even supposed to know, because you are young.
Yeah, no, I'm not on any of like the.
See,
That's right.
I got told
Yeah.
that,
You ain't
I got
supposed to know
told that
either.
I was born in an airplane, and there
Yeah.
was all kinds of little innuendos, but when I went to get my passport at 32 years old and got my birth certificate, I read it.
Which reminds me,
First time you
hold
had
on, stop.
Yes.
Hold on.
First time I saw my birth certificate, I was 32 years old.
I got a question. I asked you, young man, did you check? I gave you an assignment.
Damn, I didn't get a chance to.
Okay.
F.
Because see, we were born in the same state, in the same county,
Shut up.
and we're in the Commonwealth state.
Hold on, give me a minute.
Okay, we're gonna keep it moving, but the idea is he's gonna check from you. Go ahead, Ray Ann, because the reason why I brought this up,
Wait, is my dad on the
no,
birth
your
certificate?
parents are not on your birth
Okay,
certificate.
I got you.
Okay, because we were born in the same, because we
He
were
just told
born in
me.
the Commonwealth state. He's gonna check to make sure. I kinda know the answer, but I'm gonna let him check. That way he's not gonna think I'm making this up. Go ahead, Ray Ann.
My mom is 53 and she still doesn't know which guy is her father because
And your mom is how old?
53.
Sometimes people never find out. And we have to understand this. That's why we have to look at families like an institution. Because that's exactly what they are. They're organization. They have lobbyists. Okay, they have senators and congresspeople. It's quid pro quo. That's what politics is all about.
So,
You can do that too. Go ahead.
my boyfriend's niece has a different dad from her younger brother, and everybody knows who her dad is, and she thinks that her dad is her brother's dad, but they don't want to tell her because her dad is a criminal, and her mom doesn't want like anything to do with that.
Okay, but eventually,
I got your answer.
okay, eventually, they're going to have to tell. Now, the interesting thing is, who tells that information? And the right person has to be the person that tells that. It can't just be anybody. How they find out is another thing. What's my answer?
No. And my, so it didn't change, and it hasn't changed. My nephew, no, not my nephew. My daughter, my aunt's, so my cousin's name is not on his birth certificate.
Is he born in Pennsylvania?
He was born in Pennsylvania. But it's through counties and cities, because my dad was born in Pittsburgh, and
Allegheny County.
yeah, his father's names are on, his parents' names are on his birth certificate, but my mom's aren't.
Wait a minute, is that what, have you seen your father's birth certificate?
I have not. My mom just told me his is on there.
She sure he was born in Pittsburgh?
Yeah. I mean, it says it.
Did he get his social security number in Pittsburgh?
Yeah.
I might be doing too much. I'm kidding. Because I can tell you probably the first number.
What's the number again?
Is
What's his
what?
mom's name? Sorry.
What's the next one?
Alright.
Okay.
Next slide.
Folks,
You were.
thank you. Family curses. I'm running out of time, folks. Family
That
curses.
is real.
Yes. That's why. What's a family curse?
Being a klutz.
Right
here.
Go ahead.
It's something that is passed down because of your, like, it could be your patriarch or your matriarch. It could be, and I think it's karma because of their bad decisions or like something that they
Yeah,
did.
something
And
they
it
did.
affects you. It
Well-
affects you and it affects your posterity, but it's hard to like flee from.
If we think about, folks, if we think about a family, a lot of people will say, with Kennedy, you mentioned karma, because he had 4 sons. He wanted one of his sons to be president. That was John Fitzgerald. But he had an older brother named, no. He had an older brother.
Was it Ted? Was Ted the oldest?
No, Ted was the baby.
Joseph,
thank you. Joe Kennedy. His brother, an older brother, was killed in a plane crash during World War II. So the next, the second son, the president, President Kennedy.
His son was killed in a plane crash.
His son was killed in a plane crash in 1999. He was assassinated in 1963. Bobby was next. Bobby was running for president. He was killed, assassinated, 68. Then 69, Ted would be the next one. Ted was out with a young lady, thank you, and there was an accident. And that canceled his chances of becoming president. So one made it, but he didn't live long enough. Yeah, he didn't get very far. He only lived to age 46. So he had 4 sons. The only one that lived a full life was Baby, and that was Ted. One made it to president, but 3 of them died tragically. And a lot of people said that his dirty dealings during the Depression, selling bootleg liquor, was common. They didn't use the word common back then in the 1960s, but yeah. And so we talk about these family curses. And they are real, folks. And sometimes we got to break those family curses, like keeping secrets, like adultery, and some other things that we have to do. It's hard when we start looking at the family. Who takes the lead? Is there a leader? Because in every family there's either a matriarch or a patriarch. And a lot of times we may not want to listen to the patriarch because we know the secrets of the family, even though we're not supposed to know, especially if we haven't been on earth long enough. So what you have to do is you have to make that decision on what you want to share with your family. Now, are you bold enough? Are you bold enough to tell people when they're wrong? Are you bold enough to tell people when
I
they're right?
enjoy it.
They might not like it, but you gotta lead, okay? Yeah. So last question. Okay. According to you, how is family defined by you? How is family defined? Is it the people that share your DNA? No. Okay, sometimes it's not. Sometimes it is the people that share your DNA. You can decide who you share personal information with. You can decide that. Because, Joe, what you think of family might be totally different than what Ms. Johnson thinks of family. And so we assume that everybody next week is going to get together with their family and enjoy a meal. We got people that are homeless. Did you ever think about that? We got people that are homeless. We got people that they don't even know what they're going to do next week. So every time when we start thinking of family, it's not the same. But it's how you define what is family to you. What does family mean to you? And you're going to hear people talk about, well, this is the time families spend together. Really? This is the time of fellowship. Okay, everybody doesn't celebrate holidays. They don't. Allow your family members to be themselves. Don't push your values off on them if they don't believe. Listen to each other. That's what you got to do. You can learn from a younger person, a 4-year-old, 5-year-old. Listen to them. I tell you all the time before you leave here, make sure you talk to the older heads. Also do something with the younger heads because they're looking up at you. Now, the older heads don't have to listen to you, and you don't have to listen to them. But I would advise you to because you're trying to get to where they are.